This is one exception. As you can see here, in Cat 1, we are only carrying the voice. This is a normal telephone line that you are using in your home, okay? This is not used for example, data or for network or for LAN. This is for voice. This is the twisted pair for voice. And here we have only 4 wires and 2 pairs. But in other categories, okay, let me write here, in other categories, Cat 2, okay, from Cat 2 to Cat 8, that we can use it for data. For example, in our LANs for Ethernet, we have 8 wires, and also we can say we have 4 pairs. Look at this picture. In this picture, as you can see, we have a Cat 1 cable. This is a Cat 1 cable. And as you can see in this picture, we are using one connector. We call it RJ11. In Cat 1, we have only 4 link or 2 pairs, or 4 wires and 2 pairs. Okay, as you can see here, we have 4 pins. These 2 pins are not using, and these 4 pins are using. This is a connector. This is the a female port of the RJ11, and this is the male jack. Okay, but you know that for other categories, Cat 2 to Cat 8, we are using a little larger, a little bigger, for example, connector. As you can see here, we have 8 pins, 8 wires and 4 pairs. Because of that, the connector is a little larger than the RJ11. This is the RJ45 connector. You are using it in your LANs, in your networks, in your SOHO, for example, in your enterprise LAN, and this is the RJ11. Okay, the RJ11 has only 4 pins. The RJ45 has 8 pins. Because of that, the RJ45 connector is bigger than the RJ11. In this course, we will not talk about the Cat 1 because the Cat 1 cannot carry the data. The Cat 1 can be used only for voice, for the for example, analog telephone that you are using maybe in your home. Okay, because of that, let me to say that the category 1 or Cat 1 is a cable that we don't use it in our networks, and this is the only one type of twisted pair. We are using it for another reason. But from Cat 2 to Cat 8 are the cables that we use them in the history of the LANs, in the history of the Ethernet LANs. Look at here. Let me to review them. Cat 2, the detail is not important. For example, frequency is not important for us. But let me to say that in the first days of the networks, we use Cat 2. Cat 2 had 4 megabit per second of the for example, speed. This means that in 1 second, with Cat 2, you can send 4 million bits. Okay. After that, the Cat 3 is created. Cat 3 had 10 megabit per second. Cat 4, 16 megabit per second. Cat 5, 100 megabit per second. Okay. Cat 5e. E is the abbreviation of the enhanced. Cat 5 enhanced can support up to 1000 megabit per second. After that, we have Cat 6. With Cat 6, we can send 1000 megabit per second. We can say 1 gigabit per second. Okay, let me write here. First is the bit per second. Okay, after that, we have the kilobit per second. After that, we have megabit per second. Let me write here megabit per second, not byte. We are using byte for storage size, but for rate we are using bit. Okay, bit per second, kilobit per second, megabit per second. After that, gigabit per second. If you want to say you can, the more than this, you can say 10 gigabit per second. After that, we have for example more speed, 25 gigabit per second, for example. Okay, and then we have another speed with fiber, for example 40 gigabit per second. With cable also you can reach to 40 gigabit per second. And after that, today's we have more than this speed, 100 gigabit per second, or maybe 400 gigabit per second. Okay, because of that, we don't say 10,000 megabit per second. We say 10 gigabit per second. In most cases, we don't say 1000 megabit per second, we say 1 gigabit per second. Both of them are same, but normally we need to talk with the common terms. For example, gigabit per second, 10 gigabit per second, 40 gigabit per second. Okay, very good. Let me to review again. Cat 6, 1000 megabit per second or 1 gigabit per second. Cat 7, 10 gigabit per second. Cat 7a, 10 gigabit per second. The detail is not important. What is the frequency? It's not related to our course. Okay, you can learn about them in the communication courses, in the, for example, specific courses about the layer 1. Cat 8, 25 gigabit per second. Maybe Cat 8 can support up to 40 gigabit per second. Okay, this is only one table. Maybe you find another table in the internet, in some sites, with a little different values. Okay, it's okay. Okay, this is one table. Now we can understand that from Cat 2 to Cat 8 are the cables that we experience them in the network, in the history of the network. But today's in the market, you can find only from Cat 6 to Cat 8. Cat 4 is not available, Cat 3 is not available, and Cat 5, I'm sure that you can't find the Cat 5 in the market, but other, for example, cables, Cat 5E, maybe Cat 6, Cat 7, Cat 7A, and Cat 8 are available. You know that they have different costs. Okay, if you need to use, for example, 10 gigabit per second, you need to pay more than the, for example, Cat 6 price. Okay, very good. And this is another table. In this table, we can see a little more information about the different cables in the Ethernet. But here we have both of the twisted pairs and also the fiber optics. Okay, let me to review some of them. You know that all of these things are information, not knowledge. You need to have information. Knowledge means concept. Then you need to learn about the configuration. After that, you will be a master in the networks. Because of that, in some cases, we need to review some of the information from the internet, from some website, from some magazines, or some other, for example, places. Okay. Now we are reviewing. The detail is not important. For example, the Cat 2 created in which year? Okay, it is history. It is not knowledge. It is information. Very good. Let me to review. You know that the Ethernet, okay, published by the IEEE, okay, in the 1980. Okay, look at here, 1980. Because of that, the IEEE released the Ethernet with this standard 802.3. 80, okay, means the Ethernet is released in the 1980, okay, and 2 is the number of the months, the February, okay, because the Ethernet released in this month, okay, because of that the IEEE called the Ethernet IEEE 802, and 3 is the number of the Ethernet standard. For example, for other standards we are using another terms, 802.11, 802. For example, 5, and other numbers. But the original standard for the Ethernet from the IEEE published with the IEEE 802.3. Okay, but after that IEEE added some annex to the IEEE 802.3. For example, let me to review. Okay, look at here. As you can see, in the 1990s, okay, 1990, the IEEE standard 802.3i was released. And as you can see, this is the Cat 3 cable, this cable. Let me to write here. This is the Cat 3 cable, okay? And you know that the Cat 3 cable can support up to 10 megabit per second. Here we have the rate of 10 megabit per second. Because of that, we can say this standard was released in the 1990s. After that, you can see the code of this standard IEEE 802.3i means initial, for example, okay, and this is Cat 3, 10 megabit per second. The other name of this standard, the name that you can see in the some of the shows that you will see in this course is 10 base T. I will talk about the 10, this name 10. What 10 is the abbreviation of the speed. 10 means this category support 10 megabit per second. I will talk about the base means baseband, but I will talk about that. And T means twisted pair. When you can see T means the twisted pair, means this category is using the twisted pair, and after that with the speed of 10, and this is the baseband technology. I will talk about the baseband. Okay, this is the first standard. The second standard, as you can see, was released in the 1995. This is the Cat 5. Here we can see the Cat 4 because the Cat 4 was used for the token ring, not the Ethernet. Because of that, here we have the Cat 5. Cat 5 had 100 megabit per second, okay, and with some capabilities, we call them auto negotiation. You will learn about them. As you can see here, we have another code IEEE 802.3u. This is the standard of the IEEE. Because of that, if you say 802.3i, okay, I can understand that you are talking about the Cat 3. When you say IEEE 802.3u, I can understand that you are talking about the Cat 5 and also 100 megabit per second. Okay, the other names of the Cat 5 is 100 base TX. 100 means the speed of this standard is 100 megabit per second. Base means baseband, and TX means we are using again twisted pair with the capability of auto negotiation that you will learn about that. 1995. Okay, also in the 1998, as you can see, the IEEE released other standard 802.3z. okay, the 802.3z is one of the standards about the IEEE, about the Ethernet that IEEE was released. And in this standard, as you can see, the IEEE used the fiber. Okay, for the first time, the 1 gigabit per second, okay, was came with the fiber. But let me to talk about the fiber a little after than the, for example, talking about the twisted pair. Look at here. I'm going to only review the twisted pairs. This is the first twisted pair, Cat 3. This is the second, Cat 5. After that, as you can see here we have again in 1999 the new standard IEEE 802.3ab 1000 base T means this standard has 1 gigabit per second or 1000 megabit per second speed, and also it uses the twisted pair. 1 gigabit per second, category 5E or higher category. Look at here, this is this category 5E, up to 1 gigabit per second. But Cat 6 can give us exactly 1 gigabit per second or 1000 megabit per second. Okay, the next standard about the twisted pair was released in the 2006. Okay, in this standard, as you can see, in 2006, we have this code IEEE 802.3an with the speed of 10G base T. Means these standards can provide 10 gigabit per second of the speed with twisted pair. As you can see here, we are using Cat 6a. Cat 6a or Cat, for example, 7, both of them are same. Let me write here. This is Cat 7 or Cat 6a.